This week has been quite an exciting week for Avatar fans, as not only did we get the reveal of a new character, Palak, the captain of the Wind Traders, but Empire Magazine also revealed the gigantic factory ship from the RDA, and of course there's been the news that Avatar is finally coming to Fortnite. But I already spoke about that in a different video. In this video though, I want to focus more on the factory ship, as there's some details that I didn't touch on when the images was initially revealed, simply because of time, and well, I was very sick at that point, and although I am still a little bit sick, I do feel somewhat better. So let's do a little bit of a deep dive and see what additional information can be discovered. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And in case you're wondering, the next issue of Empire Magazine is releasing on February the 13th, that is this Thursday, which will likely come with even more info on Avatar Fire and Ash, so have a look at the links below, check out Empire Magazine, and why not take out a subscription to support the writers. Now firstly, I want to look at the most exciting announcement, at least for me, and that is the reveal of the gigantic factory ship from the RDA. Just looking at this image alone, we know more or less how big it will be, because we know the size of the sea dragon. Although we've only seen one in Avatar The Way of Water, in this image, as previously mentioned, there are 5 of them, and in this art piece, the way they're surrounding the factory ship, I'm guessing they're kind of protecting it, which does makes me wonder what defense capabilities this ship will have. We can also see in the back that there are 3 dragon ships in the sky, which we already know comes packed with a lot of firepower. And there's also an additional dragon ship situated on top of this factory ship, again indicating just how massive this thing will be. I took the image to Photoshop to try and brighten it up a little bit to see if there's any other small details that can be found from the ship, and although it is a concept art piece, this is pretty much how it will look in the movie, and this might not give us a very good indication of color. There is one more image that I will get to in a moment that kind of indicates not only the color of this thing, but kind of the positioning of some of the platforms. Now looking at it from front, like I said, there is an assault or a dragon ship sitting in the top left corner. And then of course the command area is situated on the opposite side, on the right hand side. And there's actually been an image that was floating around quite a while ago from General Ardmore, this one right here, which shows her inside some sort of ship, and this was not in the Way of Water, which gives me the indication that this is probably the first inside look into the factory ship. Now this being a behind the scenes image, you can see the table there does not have any 3D graphs on it. There's a lot of blue screening going on in the background, so there's a lot of CG that still has to be added to the scene, and the fact that it says Corv 01 written on the pillar over there does make me wonder what the ship will be called by the RDA. We know Empire Magazine did refer to it as the factory ship, but the sea dragon in the Way of Water had SD01 written on the side, giving me the indication that that was probably the first sea dragon, because obviously from this art piece there are multiple sea dragons. And not only that, if you move over to this image from Avatar The Way of Water Visual Dictionary, it gives you a satellite view of Bridgehead, you know, the massive city we saw in the beginning of Avatar The Way of Water. And there is quite a bit to unpack from this image, given that we know what that gigantic ship is. Now looking at this image and focusing more on the ocean or the water aspect of this base, if you zoom in a little bit closely, you can actually spot 8 sea dragons. One of them is leaving Bridgehead, one of them just returned, and then if you zoom into the dock area, you can spot 6 of them docked, 3 on each side. Now there is this massive ship right there in the center with red on both sides and white in the front, and if you zoom in closely, it kind of matches the art piece of the factory ship. Just bear with me for a second here, but if you look at that image, you can see there is 2 black circles on the one side, and you have some sort of brown square, almost like a platform on the opposite side. You can see not both sides has that brown area, and if you look at the art piece, you can see one side of the factory ship has a platform where the dragon ship is situated, and on the opposite side you have 2 funnels with smoke. This is commonly found on big ships, and even in the article from Empire Magazine where they revealed this image, they actually described the ship as a gigantic smoke belching factory ship, more than twice the size size of the Sea Dragons. So it kind of lines up with the two black dots and the brown square platform on the one side. And also, if you look at the front part, at least from the satellite view, you can see that it is white with red on both sides. Now, initially when looking at the image, it is kind of hard to see, but when you adjust the lighting a little bit in Photoshop, you can make out the white in the center there, this big thing that I will get to in a moment. And you can see that on both sides, it does have red paint going down to the bottom, especially right there at the back. If you zoom in very closely, you can see the back of the ship is also red, again matching the satellite view from Bridgehead that we got in the visual dictionary. Now, although the Sea Dragon has more of a grey tone to it, you can see some red stripes on the side, and I'm guessing it will be the same color that's painted on the factory ship. But looking at that white area in the front, I actually think the factory ship folds open in the front, kind of in an opposite way to the Sea Dragon, you know, where the Sea Dragon kind of folded open sideways. I think the factory ship will fold open more forward, and I have a suspicion that the white platform folds open into the ocean in order to pull in tulkun that's being hunted. We know from the article, they stated that this is essentially a moving oil platform that is designed to capture and process the tulkun on an industrial scale. So it makes sense that this front area is the part where the ship kind of pulls in all of the tulkun. You know, almost like a harvester going over a field, just harvesting the corn, something to that extent, where if there's dead tulkun in the water, it just goes over it, dragging in all of the tulkun easily one by one, harvesting them for Amrita. I do also think that this specific platform can move up and down, probably has some sort of big crane or hook that they can grab and pull the tulkun, just dumping the body in the middle of the ship once they're done with it. Now, looking at the rest of the factory ship, I couldn't really see any specific writing on it. There's only the RDA logo on the one side, but I couldn't really make out anything else specifically. But I'm pretty sure this will house some Mako subs and crab suits. In fact, going back to the article from Empire Magazine, production designer Ben Proctor actually stated that coming out of these vehicles is an army, and all of that leads into war. Now, the fact that it's called a factory ship obviously leads me to believe that it can produce weapons and other things, like a mobile factory that you move around. You know, a lot of times in strategy games, you have a mobile war factory or something to that extent where you can move around in the battlefield and create vehicles. I think this will also have those capabilities because we know that the RDA can produce vehicles at a rapid rate. But the fact that Ben Proctor stated specifically, quote, coming out of these vehicles, end quote, makes me wonder if there's multiple of them. If he stated specifically that this vehicle singular, then that would indicate that there's one of them, but he said vehicles. That is of course just speculation, because going back to the satellite view, I could only find one of them, and this one is docked, but I mean, there could be a few of them, some of them being out on the ocean exploring, or perhaps there's an area at Bridgehead where the dock is covered, so we don't really see what's going on, or maybe even they're still producing them at Bridgehead, so we'll see multiple of them in Avatar Fire and Ash. But like I said, he did use the term vehicles, indicating that there may be multiple of them, but that is of course just speculation, that is not confirmed. Either way, the fact that he said that the Way of Waters in battle will look like a skirmish gives me the indication that this battle is going to be massive, because a skirmish of course is just a small fight and not a battle. You know, the Metkayina and the Sullys might have won this small fight against one sea dragon, but when they have to battle against a factory ship, possibly multiple of them, that is going to be a difficult situation to overcome. Now, the final thing I want to touch on in the article about the factory ship is where Ben Proctor states, quote, we're going to see an airborne and waterborne battle for the ages as the Pandoran forces and RDA clash in a really interesting environment, end quote. Now, I'm not quite sure what he means by saying interesting environment. There could be multiple battles taking place at different areas. You could have the Metkayina face off against the RDA and this factory ship on the ocean, and then we can have Jake and whoever else, maybe the Wind Traders, take on the RDA at Bridgehead, or maybe even the Ash clan will be involved, and it'll just be an all-out brawl. You know, the RDA having to fight the Ash clan as well as Jake Sully, and the Sullys and the Metkayina has to fight the RDA as well as the Ash clan, and the Ash clan is just fighting everybody. So it's going to be a situation where everybody's fighting everybody. We just simply don't know yet, because at this moment we only have some concept art to go on, as well as a few articles from Empire magazine. My guess is probably that Neytiri is going to be involved in the airborne battle, whereas Jake and the Metkayina is more going to be involved in the waterborne battle. So we'll have to wait and see. But as I said, there was quite a bit to actually unpack about the factory ship, its color pattern, and also its capabilities. But what do you think about all of this? Do you have a different theory? Is there something that I might have missed? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Till next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.